and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander, National Sales Manager, Bona Adhesives.
And I'm Rob Johnson from Bona Training.
How we doing, Rob?
Pretty good, buddy. How you doing?
Doing really good, man.
Today, you home today?
I am in the office at home. Yep.
Nice.
We passed 100 episodes, so we're on to the next 100, right?
It's all downhill from here, baby.
I thought though that now that we've got that behind us, I think it's time to start setting some demands out there. I've got a list of things that I think we could demand, based on the success of the show now, and I'll email them to you. You put them in your own words and run them up the flagpole. Take me off the email.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't do things like that.
Oh no. I'll give it to you. You put it in your own words.
You want me to Johnson it up, you mean?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, you can't do something like that. Not in your position.
See how that flies.
Oh, God, no. I'll take care of it. Yeah, send it to me.
Okay.
Is there money involved, or is it more prestige, or what are you looking for?
No, I'm thinking like candy bars or, fishing pole or something.
You're a chocolatier, right? Aren't you into dark chocolates? Or
I am, yeah. Well, our episode today, Rob, I don't know if our industry, this is to our entire industry. Are we as an industry, do we know how to talk to the Gen Z generation today? Gen Z, if you're born between 1996 and 2015, that's Gen Z. And I started thinking, are we doing everything we can as an industry to pull these people in? Are we, you know what I mean? Let's look at ourselves. We say it's hard to get labor and it's hard to find new people and what have you. But what are we doing as an industry? And maybe we're doing something wrong. So I thought maybe we would talk about that. And who is this? What is this group all about? I started thinking, okay, 16 to 25-year-old people might look at a guy like me and say, that old guy doesn't know anything about me. And hell, maybe they're right. So let's get to know a little about this Gen Z generation coming up, and keep an open mind. And let's look at ourselves as an industry, and also try to dive into who these people are. And sound like they're like Martians or foreign people, but I think it would be interesting to we kind of get to know each other a little bit. You had a few in your class today.
Well, it's amazing. Yeah, I'm doing a class. So we got a class going on this week in Monroe, and I found out something. There are 3 classes going on in Monroe this week. Clark is having their class, Loeb is having a class, and we're having a class. All eyes in the industry are focused on Charlotte, North Carolina this week. So
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Our class is going great. And, I know we had talked about this episode, how to talk to the younger generation. Or what generation is it? Z or X? Or
Gen Z.
Gen Z. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I got some Gen Zs in this class, and they're lunatics.
Is that right?
I mean, I am not exaggerating. I've done classes now, I don't know, 5 or 6 years. And I've never had 3 people laugh more than these 3 kids. They're like goofy school kids, okay? Everything is a riot. They're joking with each other. There's inside jokes. There's outside jokes. I never saw people enjoy a class and laugh as much as these knuckleheads are doing, okay? And I got so much information. A couple of them listened to the show.
Okay.
So I said, and finally I had to throw them out. I like, you guys got to leave, okay? I got to do a show, and I can't have you meatheads staring at me when we're doing this. No way. All right. 2 of them, Wilbur and Veronica, they're from Atlas Floors in Maryland.
Okay.
And my main man, Brock, from Diamond Floors in Delaware. And they asked me, so what's today's show about? What are you guys talking about today? And I said, you're not going to believe it, but we're doing a show on how to talk to you guys, how to talk to the younger generation, Gen Z, right? Is that what, yeah, Gen Z.
Yep.
And they started laughing about it, right? And then the three of them started talking. All I did, I swear, it was not like I was even in the room. All I did was take notes while they were talking.
Beautiful.
They wrote the entire show.
That's perfect.
I
How about that
wish
for
I had
timing?
taped it. If I had taped it, we could have taken the night off.
Very beautiful.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I got some nuggets. I got some real nuggets.
Good. Well, lay 'em on me.
All right. Well, Veronica said, first off, she's a lady. She's a girl in the business. Yeah, so she's Gen Z. So she's a young woman. How about that? I'll call her a young woman.
Perfect.
She does not like to be treated delicately, she said. She wants to be treated just like one of the guys on the job. So that was, so maybe, that's not going to work for all women, but she told me flat out. And actually, there's another girl in this class, and she was kind of saying the same thing. If you got to let one fly, let it fly. Don't worry about it. And then they started, letting them fly. So it was just pretty funny. And they're both doing so great in the class. Like, just couldn't be happier. So that was one that, don't treat her delicately. And actually, the other girl said the same thing.
Interesting, because I like to be treated delicately.
Well, who doesn't?
I thought we would get along. But see, there you go. I was missing it. I was missing something because I would have missed that. Okay, that's good stuff. What else you got?
All right. So let's do another one. All right. Don't talk down to them. Talk across the table to them.
That's good stuff. Yeah, that's good stuff.
That really, I remember, well, and you remember the same thing. You worked for your uncle. I worked for my uncle a lot. Okay, probably more. I probably worked for my uncle more than I worked for my dad. And I just think sometimes that a nice pat on the back would have went further than the daily beatings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And I think as what generation are we? You're a boomer, right?
I think we're boomers. Yeah.
I know I'm a boomer.
Well, then I am too.
Yeah, because
I am.
boomers. Yeah, I think boomers stop at 64. So I was born 62. So, I'm right on the edge. You're 61, right?
I'm 60.
No, I mean you were born in 61.
No, I was born in 60.
You were born in 60.
Yeah.
So you're 61.
I'm 60. I was born in July.
Oh.
So my birthday's coming up.
Okay.
I gotta remind you of this every year.
There you go.
Okay.
You mean everybody just doesn't turn that age on January 1?
No,
that should be a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So they like to be talked across the table to, but not crossed down to, or talked down to.
Yeah. Think about that.
Yeah. Well,
when I was talking about your uncle and my uncle, and I know you heard it probably as much as I did. Is like, oh, in my day, you kids are weak and wary, and we had to make our own sandpaper. We had to.
Yeah. You think those rocks grow on trees?
Yeah.
Don't waste that.
Exactly. And I know, I don't know about you, but I didn't care for it. I know when I was working with my son, I didn't treat him like we were treated.
Yeah.
A good pat on the back. Hey, great job. Looks really good. Kind of building them up. But when they said, "Don't talk down to me, talk across the table to us," wow, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I would have liked that too. I do sound like I'm whining a lot now, don't I?
You?
Yeah, sounds like I'm. Oh, poor me.
No, not really. I mean, listen, I would have loved to have been talked to like that too. I mean, as you said, we got talked to like we were dogs. So it would have been nice to be able to someone talk across the table to me. So yeah, I'm totally with this, man. I'm liking this.
Yeah.
Keep going. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. Before you go any further, we want this generation to succeed. We want them to get into the trade and get involved in the trade. And there's a lot of things this trade has to offer. I mean, if you like work, there's a lot of freedom in this trade. You're working with a natural product. There's a lot of beauty in this trade. There's a lot of artistic value in this trade. There's a whole lot of reasons to be in this trade, but this is good, man, because we also have to make it worthwhile for them and what their needs are and how we can take the needs of the trade and the needs of this generation and combine them both and make it work for everybody. So yeah, keep going. I'm liking this. I had a bunch of notes too, but I'm enjoying this.
Okay. Here's another one. Social responsibility,
Yeah.
the green movement.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what Veronica said to me when, we got into this little conversation. She broke it down: faster, safer, stronger. And that's what the green thing meant to her. So I was like, wow, that's
Good
pretty
stuff.
good too,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just kept thinking to myself, yeah, this show is about how to talk to these people. And
Mm-hmm.
these are ways that I never talk to these people. I mean, training, I do the training type, but
Yeah.
I never thought to, it was always, and you're probably the same way. Oh, in my day, this is how we did it. In my day, you kids are weak and this and that. Well, there's a way. I think there's a way to talk to them. I felt great, because I know, we want to say, oh, and didn't you have an article where they said they don't want to work, they don't want to do this or that?
I didn't have an article. I read an article by that.
Right.
Yeah, let's make that
And,
clear.
and you didn't write it. You just read
There's
it.
that old man there. Get
Yeah.
him.
It was written by some angry old guy, right? Oh,
Yeah.
they don't want to work. And
Yeah.
I have backed up
hate-
the kids on this show before because I work with a lot of the kids in training. I mean, everybody, it seems like everybody I come in contact with now is young enough to be my kid, so I just can't, I really turned into the old.
Put yourself in their shoes, Rob. I mean, when we grew up, yeah, we worried about Russia, right? And the Cold War and that. And these kids growing up now, man, I mean, you got murder hornets. You know what I mean? There's no gas. The world is in turmoil. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And this seems like you had a global pandemic they had to live through. We had none of that. We had to worry about the nuclear bomb. And, they've got that plus 300 things on top of that. So there's a lot of anxiety in this generation growing up. That's clear. In fact, they list that as one of their biggest concerns. I mean, they're very anxious and what have you. And listen, we're obviously generalizing. There's somebody listening right now going, what's that old dude talking about? Man, I ain't anxious. So you better be anxious. So
there is not one anxious bone in these three kids' bodies at this school, man.
God. All right. Keep going, Rob. I'm enjoying this.
Faster, safer, stronger. I love that. That could be my new motto. All right. If we need to talk to this younger generation, we have to learn how to talk tech. We need to talk technology. We need to, you and I need to have Erica Kitsy standing by our side constantly, day in, day out.
Mm-hmm.
And for the older people out there, always just, if you're going to tune into one, man, listen to that Erica Kitsy podcast about social media and how to talk to people. I think that was one of our best. That was so great. Great information.
All right, well, stop there for a minute. Okay, that's an interesting point. So they're very tech savvy and new innovation. Okay, so there again, the element of social media in this trade, I think, changes the game. You know what I mean? That now they can all talk to each other across the table. right? With all the different techniques they're using, the technology, I mean, with the new tools that are out there today that we didn't have in the past, that struggle, part of that struggle is gone now, right? That challenge of, with the power drive, let's face it, change the game. It just, those things aren't, it doesn't beat your body up. You can go home at the end of the day, you're not so tired. The vacuum systems, the green products, all these different things. So that kind of fits down there. Also, if you look at sanitary finishing floors, damn it, Bona did a study on this. I wish I would have, if I knew we were going to go down this way, I would have thought about that. But they did a study on how sustainable it is when you sanitary finishing floor versus using new lumber and all the carbon footprint to get the wood to the job and all these different things by just sanitary finishing floor. So if I'm hiring a guy or a gal, and there's some badass girls in this trade right now, man. If you go out on TikTok, somebody showed me. I'm going through the different video. There's some stuff. There's a girl in Northern California. I wish I knew her name. She's always doing 5/16 top nail floors, and the 5/16 top nail floors. That's old school, man, as you get, and she's doing it like an old school craftsman, and I love that. So, but yeah, so our trade, if they look at the trade that way, and if you're a manager, the hell's that noise? What are you doing? Making a cake? If you're a manager of right now, that's something I'd really talk about and promote. So yeah, right. That's good stuff.
You say there's some, amazing women in this business, right?
I said badass.
Oh, badass. Okay.
Yeah.
Badass women in there.
Mm-hmm.
We have one of the girls there. Her name is Amy Horton, and she started her own company, Sea Glass Flooring. She was Sea Glass Flooring. Yep, and it's Sea Glass Flooring out of Wilmington, North Carolina, down on I think that's near the shore.
That's a beautiful town. Yeah.
Yeah. And she was a project manager, and she was telling me all sorts of things. And she just woke up one day and bought a trailer, coming to the schools, and started her own floor sanding business. So you want to talk about badass, taking a chance? I mean, it's just so great. Like I said, in this class, we get some really, some badass women in this class. It's pretty funny, but up there with the guys. And
let's also stop right there for a minute. So here's what I would encourage too. You take the other day we had a podcast on, and we didn't finish it. We did part 1. We didn't do part 2. We had 4 different contractors from around the country, right? And I asked them, and you asked them all the same question. If somebody reaches out to you that they need a hand or something like that, how likely are you to help? Right? Every single one of them said, "Man, we do it all the time. We love to do it," and they're actually honored to be able to do it. So of this Gen Z, maybe there's a little bit of a connection there. There's a gap right there that they both don't realize, right? The younger generation is wanting to learn, and the older generation wants to pass it down. It's just how you get there. And I think if we learn how to have these conversations, and guys our age, maybe put down your guard a little bit and your pride and all this crap we did in the past and everything, and keep an open mind. And if the Gen Z people would maybe also reach out and say, "Hey, here's what I want to do," and whatever. I think there could be, it would bridge that gap in our trade, and it needs to happen, right? So that continue.
It absolutely needs to happen. I mean, that's the number one probably conversation that you and I have with contractors every day is can't find help.
Yeah.
Help is everything.
And this generation is taking a beating. I mean, really, they're taking a beating from they don't want to work, blah, blah, blah. You know what? They do want to work, but they don't want to work quite like we did, maybe. You know what I mean? They value their time off more than we did. We valued it too, but we weren't ready to quit over it. You know what I mean? We weren't ready to. I mean, this is a big deal to them. They want their time off. They maybe want some flexible time. The world is more complicated than it was. People are smarter than they used to be. You know what I mean? We're dumb like a rock, get up with a lunch pail and go to work every day. And the world wasn't as complicated. So let's give them a break on that, and let's meet them on that, right? And listen, you also have to couple this with, this is a demanding trade that you have tight timelines. But maybe there's some flexibility in there, like between jobs. Maybe don't start the job so quick before the other one starts. You know what I mean? Or maybe there's some room there. Just throwing it out there.
We don't want to lump them together because you know, we don't want to be, you and I don't want to be lumped into the, oh, the dumb baby boomers don't know how to tie their own shoes.
Yeah.
They wear Nike Monarchs and all they do is,
Hey, that's
grill stuff.
that's
Well,
getting too close right there with the Mike.
that's, yeah,
Nike
yeah.
Mars.
I just
No,
described myself.
it's
Right?
actually New
Yeah.
Balance. New Balance is the
Mhm.
old guy's shoes, man. So
Right.
yeah,
I'm happy every day when I can turn my computer on, and
absolutely.
yeah, not long ago I figured out how to put my cable company on my what do they call my tablet.
Yeah.
You know what
Oh,
I mean? So now I can watch TV on the tablet. You would have thought that, I split the atom on that one,
look at you!
right?
Look at you bragging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I
All
did
right.
that myself.
All right. What else did you get out of these guys and gals?
So we need to talk. If we want to talk to them, we need to learn how to talk a little tech talk because that's their language. And like we said, this is the show about, how are we going to talk to these guys? Because we need to learn how to talk to them so they'll get on board with us. We can hire them. They
Yep.
want to be part of the
Yep.
team.
Yep.
Here's a really good one, I thought. They want to be introduced to trainings, NWFA, expos. They want to talk about this. I think if you're hiring one of these people, talk to them about, we're going to do some training. We're going to go here. We're going to, they want to get out. They want to be part of the society type of a thing, the wood floor community.
Yeah.
And man, the conversation that they started talking about with how they went to their first NWFA expo and that just blew them away, where they thought it was just a dopey industry of a bunch of old guys like you and I spreading polyurethane. And when they went to that expo, they all said it just was an amazing thing that just opened their eyes to the opportunity and what really is happening in our industry. So that I thought
something?
was huge.
As you're talking right now, it just occurred to me. We did 40 under 40. We did 40 under 40 again. Pretty sure we did 40 under 40 a third time with the NWFA. I think that we should start highlighting more the people under 30, like the 20-year-olds and what have you. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
let's say you get to the convention, and just like any organization, when you have new members that are just getting it on board and they're under 3 years, they should be somehow recognized or have them wear a pin or something that says, "Hey, I'm 3 years in the industry or 1 year in the industry," what have you, so that everybody can give them a pat on the back, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Welcome.
so I think that'd be a great idea, man. So anybody going to the NWFA, by the way, NWFA this year, I'll say it again, Orlando, Florida, July 9th. It's a Wednesday, I believe, through Friday. So July 9th, Orlando. I hope to see a lot of people there. I'm going. I cannot freaking wait to see our customers again and everything. So I hope everybody else is going. And I think that would be great. Recognize these people, give them a pin or something that says, "Hey, I'm in the trade 3 years or whatever." And I guarantee you, people would embrace them like no other.
So you know what you got to do? You got to get Bona adhesive pins, 3
Yeah.
years, 4 years, pass them out to everybody. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Part of the community.
Yep.
So introduce them to what's going on in the industry, training, things like that. Because that blew me away. That I was like, man, that was great to hear. I mean,
Listen.
you and I have been to these things so many times. We kind of walk it and
Yeah.
something new. But for somebody, I do look back to the very first one I went to. Do you remember your first one?
100%.
It was just, just an incredible eye-opening experience. I went from the family business to, going to that show.
Reno, Nevada, I saw Steve Seabaugh do a Greek keyboarder at my first NWFA convention as like a demo of the advanced school or whatever at the time. I don't know if it was expert at the time, whatever. And I sat there and watched him do that. And I was like, man, This is it, man. I'm around my peers. I mean, and I still get excited about the NWFA
Yeah.
convention. So, hell yeah, I remember that, man. And I just think it's such a great idea, man. All right, go on to the next one.
Next one. All right. Here we're this generation loves networking.
Yeah.
They love networking. They love being in touch with each other. They just sat here talking about who they talk to, who they follow. Like you said, pick up the phone type of thing and call somebody. Well, it's really not pick up the phone anymore, like you and I
Yeah.
would do.
You
They
know,
contact each other through it, but that is it's very important to them. They want to feel like they're
connected.
part of the community. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They
Yeah.
because I think they've heard what you and I were just talking about, like, oh, you people, you kids don't want to work today. Well,
Mm,
they do. They
mhm.
want to work and they want to produce stuff. They just don't want to do the same old thing. They want to
I
take chances.
I think it's like any relationship, man. The more you talk about this, the more it's communication. And if two, I mean, we are old school, old as it gets, man, and we recognize that. Hey, we have to change also. I think it's the industry as a whole, and guys our age, and guys, you can't complain about not getting help if we're not talking the same language. And there's been so many changes in the world that I said on the last podcast that if I know that if I went back to a contractor, I would have to change. I would have to change the way that I manage and I did things because it's a different world right now. Not necessarily a bad thing. It's just that it's just different. And I think by doing that, you're going to get some smart people working for you. I mean, they are the most educated generation out there.
Hmm.
So yeah, good stuff, Rob.
It's funny because you mentioned the education. They all went to college for different things. That nothing had to do anything with the wood floor industry for what they went to school for, but they found something that just resonated with them. They found some real great satisfaction doing floors and being a part of it.
Yeah,
Where the careers that they might have thought they were going to go to with what they took in college and everything, just kind of didn't pan out. Wasn't very satisfying. You know, I
well,
look at Bum. Bum was a perfect example. I mean, he worked really hard, did fantastic in railroad school, and was working for CSX and just doing great, but it wasn't satisfying to him. And that's why he got back into floors because he got that gratification, satisfaction on going to work and doing a job every day. So I think that means a lot to him, to this generation too. Is it's got to have some meaning. It's got to have some skin in the game with.
globally, they're like 24% of the workforce right now, right? I mean, that's a lot. And they are also the most diverse workforce in the history, also. And that also means a lot to them. They're very socially responsible, socially aware, as you said. And I think your message as a company, I see a lot of companies on their websites talk about. We had a guy on the other day talk about sustainable harvesting the floors and the wood and all that kind of stuff, and using low VOC products and everything like that, making a difference. And I think that they have to know what they do matters in that regard. You know what I mean? They see the world in a different way that we saw it. So again, these messages when you're talking to these people, we call them these people. I don't know what to say. It's got to be a better way to say that. This generation, I think it's
These
important
people.
that yeah, we have to recognize that. So
Another thing that they said, and this kind of goes with the networking, but they love the feeling of being in the community, the wood floor community. That's very important to them because they did talk a lot about that, and something I it was funny because I just kept thinking, my God, none of this ever hit me until you and I have talked about this kind of stuff before, but when I was listening to the Gen Z people really talking about it, and to your point, I think they're just being lumped in to a bad crowd. There might be some lazy ones out there, but man, not the ones that I work with and not the ones that come to this school and everything. They're hungry. They're hungry for learning. They're hungry to, when you say, hey, who wants to try this? They're jumping up. They're the first ones to try it. So I
There,
think our generation, the boomers, we got to stop looking down on these people. There's these people again. We got to stop looking down on them because you just can't lump them all into one saying, oh my God, these kids just don't want to work today. Because
it's
like I said, the ones that I've worked with and the ones that have come to school, I'm impressed with these kids.
well, too. I mean, this generation of Gen Z, they question everything. Okay, I mean that's one thing that they do that maybe the generations before didn't do, as much. But they want to know why. I mean, like I said, that they're smart people. They question things, and for an older generation, might look at that like, hey, I told you to scrape the corner, and that's all you got to know. But that's not them, man. I mean, they want to know. I mean, if there's a way of talking and communicating that would make a world of difference. And it cracks me up if you're worried about being, questioning everything. Let's not forget that the 60 generation was questioning authority, right? I
Yeah,
mean, that was the whole thing, question authority.
right.
Well, these guys are questioning things. They want to know why. They want to know. They're inquisitive, and they're smarter than we were. We weren't, like I said, they're very educated. We were just knuckleheads that just we had a job to do. We did the job, and we really didn't think too much beyond that. I'm not taking anything away from us. It was a different time. So
I just really didn't want to get yelled at, so I just tried
yeah,
to.
yeah,
All right, Lex. This generation loves pushing the envelope. Colors, textures, layouts, different designs. This means a lot to them. They don't want to get the. I don't see them as a. I shouldn't see. Once again, you just want to lump them in, saying, "Oh, they don't want to do production work." They don't want to just pound out, pound out, pound out floors. But they did talk a lot about that. How they want to
this
push the envelope. They want to see. They want to do things different.
this is soda water, by the way. This isn't a beer. I'm drinking. You're right. Um, what was I going to say? They are also more in tune with mental health than we were. Right? I mean, they want their days off. They value their times off. It's a big deal to them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So they may want more time off than we took off when we were younger, right? But I'll have to go back to the world that they grew up in. As this is more, I mean, look how much more stressful the world is today than it was, 60 years ago. They value their time off, and they put that above a lot of other things. And for somebody else, that might rub them the wrong way. But again, it goes back to communication and expectations. And I think, but you got to have, it goes both ways, the street, right? I think it's, you can't call and say, hey, I'm taking Tuesday off. You know what I mean? I mean, I
yeah,
think as long as reasonable people understand, here's the goal, here's what we got to get done, and communicate, I think there's ways around that, right? So
sure.
I think, but that is definitely important. You see that days off, and time off means a lot to this generation.
Okay. Uh, I talked about tech. When I was talking about tech, I meant cell phones and tablets, computers, stuff like that. But this generation also embraces the new sanding technology.
Yeah,
They're into that. And just like you said, not beating up on the body. I mean, the way these kids were talking about the power drive and the multi-disc and the big machine, I mean, everything that we've been doing over the past couple of days, this is huge to them. I mean, they were just, we showed them wire brushing today. They just jumped out of their shoes when, we hooked up the wire brush to the power drive, and they were, I was telling them about the crew that I had in Philly that were wire brushing everything by hand. And now that, this kind of thing, I mean, they're into this. They are
yeah,
definitely into the new technology. And that's something that you've probably seen too with the younger guys. They are definitely more apt to get, buy into the new technology and actually buy the new technology. And some
Yeah.
of the old timers,
Yeah.
like you and I, like, yeah, you know what? I just
Yeah.
screen that floor. We're good.
Yeah. Then take it home and reuse it and save it. And don't throw that away.
Did
I
you have a
think
truck? Did you have a truckload of paper too?
no, I've said before, if you were friends with me when I was a floor guy, you could probably never had to buy sandpaper and just use the belts that I throw out. I know I went through
Oh,
too
okay.
much paper. I know I
All right.
did, but I will stand by it. I'm okay with it. I wanted everything, and everything's measured, man. Everything's the same. But anyhow,
Peter and I, it's like we never threw away paper. I mean, we used it, but we never threw it away.
right?
I mean, sometimes there would just be boxes of paper in the truck waiting for that fur floor that was going to come up. Oh, thank
Yeah,
God
yeah.
thank God I
Well,
got 92 36 grit belts.
yeah. Well, like we would save like used 100 grits or whatever for that aluminum oxide job where you're going to do that on the first pass to scuff it up.
Mm-hmm.
But then we just go through a bunch of them. Then we would toss them. But this generation, Rob, also they want to be heard. You talked about that they want I don't know if you mentioned whatever, but they want recognition for the job that they do. I think it all goes back to feeling that they're working for a value-based company, that their work is meaningful, that's socially responsible, that it's inclusive, and they're doing something good for the environment. Which I mean, they pick a perfect industry for that. I mean, it's a very sustainable environmental product that we're working with. So, and I do think they want to be heard. And that goes back to your point of not, and nobody wants to be talked down to. It's gone are the days when you can say, hey, get in that closet and start doing that until I tell you you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That doesn't jive anymore. I mean, that worked back in the day, but it doesn't work anymore. So I think as an industry, we really got to recognize this, and we got to ask ourselves as business owners and entrepreneurs and whatever, are we really sending the right message? Is part of this our fault that we're not communicating the way that maybe we should be communicating with them? And as the industry overall, recognizing these people like we really should. And like you said, I mean, I'm not talking down to them. And there's jokes on the internet now about millennials and Gen Z and blah blah blah, and maybe they're just a little bit over it. Especially like you said, the ones coming to your class, they're hardworking people. If I was a hardworking person, I kept getting up every day and I'd see somebody talking about our generation like we don't do anything. I'd get a little bit pissed about it after a while, wouldn't you?
Sure. Yeah.
I'd
Absolutely.
I'd be wanting to fight an old man like me.
They don't want to mess with you. Now that you're working out again, now that you're back,
That's true.
they
Yeah.
don't want to be messing with you now.
Oh yeah. Big tough guy.
Uh, Another point that they made, and this just makes total sense. They they want a fun, positive work environment. They want to have some laughs. And I'm
Yeah.
not just saying that because these three are the biggest goofballs I've ever had in my life at a school. Okay, they're having way too much fun. But I remember being on the job site with the crew and everything, and every once in a while, you did want to have and I know that there's some serious people out there, and this generation, like you said, there's a lot of anxiety. You're all those things that you talked about, murder hornets and
Mhm.
pandemics, and you know, politics and all this stuff out there. Work is almost a break for them from all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Putting on the
Well.
headset, turning on the machine, doing a little grinding, a little buffing. Right?
Mhm.
They want to have fun. They want to enjoy the day of work. I think they want to get something out of it, but they want a fun, positive type work atmosphere.
I keep going back to Rob. You can do that now. I mean, the old days was stressful as hell, man, because you couldn't trust your machine wasn't going to give you chatter marks, right? I mean, that was always weighing on us. I mean, we didn't have to do jobs over chatter marks, but I'll be lying if I'm saying we didn't end up with job that had chatter marks from time to time with them old split drums. You know what I mean? We had the edgers and then the heavy and blah blah blah, and now you've got tools that you can take you don't have to worry about some of those things that we had to worry about. I think, remember before the vacuum systems, you'd come home after edging all day long, you couldn't hardly breathe because of
The whole time you were just talking, all I was thinking about was the dust.
yeah.
The dust was just, I know we sound like, oh, those crotchety old timers, but
Mhm.
oh my God. I mean,
Yeah.
how much time did we spend just cleaning?
Yeah.
Think about how much time it used to take from the time you were done screening a floor to the time you're going to get a coat down.
Yep. Yep. I
Think
mean,
about that.
Rob, when I first started, we didn't have vacuum cleaners. I mean, we swept the floors first, and we had a very specific way of sweeping, and we had a putty knife in the back pocket so you can get the dust out of the corners, and then we swept again, and back there was lacquer and shellac back in those days when we first started. You've got better vacuum systems now. I mean, the HEPA filters. You've got. I mean, it now. This really does fit in the industry's in line, man, with this people what they want out of this world, and there's good money in it. If we just come together and learn to start talking to each other again, and I think it would go miles. I really do. I really like the idea of hashtag Wayne's idea that uh, give these guys a pin or something, man. At the NWFA, you've been in business for 1 to 3 years or 5 years, whatever. Recognize them, so guys like us can pat them on the back, man. And just like hey, by the way, I was in Alexandria, Kentucky the other day. I saw a World War II veteran in a submarine. He was in a submarine veteran. I mean, how amazing is that? There are guys there are hardly any of those guys left anymore. But to be World War II, and he spent his time in the submarines the whole time. Ah, man, that's a man right there. I shook his hand. It was an honor to meet him. But anyhow, that's what we should embrace these people, man, and make them feel good about the industry. And I think that us as an industry, we really need to do that if we want to keep this thing going like it's going. So, all right.
And I think one of the good things about our industry too, and especially the older guys like you and I, and I see it at every school where we have a boomer. Let's call them what we are, right? Where we have the boomers. Uh, I have never met a boomer at one of my classes that didn't want to teach or didn't want to coach. It didn't
Yeah.
want to, reminisce and talk about the old days and in a good way and help these younger generation type guys. I think we're all good. I
Right.
think that's a really good positive part of our industry. And I think when, maybe back when you and I first kind of went on our own, I think everybody kind of held their cards a little close to the vest. Nobody really
Oh,
wanted to,
oh yeah.
you
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean? Like
Absolutely.
I
So
remember we had a guy on my dad's crew that really did all the training, and he would tell you he's not going to teach you everything. No way,
yeah.
because if I teach you everything, they're not going to need me. Type.
Okay. So you brought up a couple things that let me hit on. Okay. You said the two magic words. You said there's always a boomer in the class, and he always wants to teach or coach. That's the difference. I mean, making sure that it is teaching and coaching, and it's not talking down to, like you said, right? I
Right.
mean, that's that because you coach, Rob. That's what you do. It's a natural thing for you because I've been in so many of your classes. By the way, Nashville next week, I'm going to be in the class with you for a couple of days. So
Oh, hey,
whoever's going to come to the class, Nashville, the school is going to be a blast. But it's you're right. It's coaching and teaching. It's not talking down to and being overbearing with it.
right.
And you said something else that I can't remember what the hell it was now. Hmm. All right, carry on.
I'm done.
Okay. All right. I think we hit it, man. I think we get it. And listen, if we recognize there's nothing special about me and Rob, we recognize that
Whoa,
there's.
whoa, 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 whoa.
I'm trying out my modest side to see if it's gonna work.
Doesn't fit, man.
No, you're right. It didn't
Doesn't
feel right coming out of my mouth.
doesn't fit.
Yeah, these
Uh,
words.
yeah, just doesn't.
All right. Well, a couple of geniuses like me and Rob can figure this out.
There you go. Now we got it.
we can pass it on to the rest of you dummies. And no, but so I think it's a worthy conversation. Too many times, and we all talk around each other. We all talk about it, but we really don't come out and really talk directly and address it. So, okay, there you go, Rob. Appreciate it, man. Good to see you again. And this has
Always
been
a pleasure, buddy.
Yep. This has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.